Welcome to A Window on SAHMRI, where we take you inside South Australia's independent not-for-profit health and medical research institute. Each episode, we get to know the people driving our life-changing research, getting into what motivates them personally and how their work is delivering a brighter, healthier future for all.
Gill, what's a pharmacoepidemiologist?
That's a great question. Thanks, Cal. So it's someone that studies medicine use at the population level. So I feel like one good thing out of COVID is that people actually now know what an epidemiologist does. And so people can generally sort of piece together pharma, medicines, pharmacy as a pharmacoepidemiologist. So that's helpful when you're having conversations with people. So we study medicines use, how they're used, if they're safe and appropriate, and looking at, comparative effectives. So how do they compare with other medicines on the market? So all about that sort of whole quality use of medicines.
Did you ever think you'd be one?
A pharmacoepidemiologist? No, definitely not. And probably when I was doing my undergraduate, so in pharmacoepi, has got a lot of statistics. It's sort of big data, as it's commonly called. And that was actually one of my worst subjects as an undergrad. So luckily, we've got really smart people in the team that are really good at programming and statistics. So we've got 5 statisticians in our team, which is awesome, and it's really good.
Okay, so we can just kind of deflect that onto them.
Well, obviously, when I was doing my training and becoming a pharmacoepidemiologist, I had to do all those statistics and learn programming. So otherwise, you can't. It's really hard to do it and understand the data. So, you have to sort of be sitting in that position to do that.
But it's not in alignment with your natural skill set per se. So you've had to work extra hard to be able to do it?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I think for me, when I first started, it was more of the transition into doing research where there was potentially more of a translation where it could actually potentially make a difference and inform policy and practice. So that's sort of one of the things that attracted me to the field. So I actually did my PhD in biochemistry of inflammatory diseases in rheumatology at the old RA, which some people might remember.
Going way back.
It's way back. So, now I'm really showing my age, which was, there was lots of fun times and it was a great experience. So that was largely sort of bench science. And I loved it at the time. I wasn't very good. We did an experiment once where we did things with mouse models, except I couldn't kill the mice. So then I had to bribe the research assistant to do it for me because I started crying. So
right, okay.
I'd sort of decided that probably wasn't the space for me either.
So the empathy sort of got in the way a bit.
Yeah.
What got you interested in science in the first place?
Well, I really have always loved science as, at high school, which was a few years ago. I loved science. I loved all of the sciences, physics, chemistry, biology, those sort of classic subjects that you did in year 12. And then as an undergrad, I really wanted to be a vet. I think lots of kids wanted to be a vet. But
animal lover.
Animal. Here we go back to the animal thing again. But at that time, there was no vet school at uni in South Australia. So I decided just to do a science degree just because I love science, and I really had no idea, really no idea what I wanted to do as a grown-up, and kind of being a grown-up seemed like a very, very long way away. So I did science and I loved it. I did so many different subjects and I just loved learning new things, and that's one of the things that I love about my job now is learning new things, and I like being around smart and interesting people. I feel like, even if it's outside of your discipline, there's almost so much that you can learn from other people, even if it's just little things. So that's what really sort of drove me to sort of keep doing sort of academia research. And I really like the challenge of, maybe more so as an undergraduate, not really knowing anything. And then, at the end of, a semester or a course, you kind of knew a little bit more. And it was just, it was something that I really, as I say, still love, and something that still drives me to sort of keep doing what I'm doing. So.
And the more you know, the more you realise that you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And the more you know, the more you sort of want to know, and then it helps being, having a little bit of a creative kind of just thinking a bit laterally as well. There's there's quite sort of different scientists really, but so if you can kind of think big picture and a little bit outside of the box as well, and I think that helps in terms of thinking of new things and new ideas and, trying to learn from other disciplines as well, the things that might be applicable to your field of research. And I think that probably goes for lots of researchers at SAHMRI. Yeah.
SAHMRI's good for that.
Yeah, totally.
How would your friends and family describe your personality?
They would say that I like to have a good time. I'm fun-loving, friendly, like a good laugh. I think my one of my mottos in life is if you're not having a good time, you're doing it wrong. So
I like that. That's good.
Yeah, we're here for a good time, not a long time.
Well, hopefully both. If we can.
Well, hopefully.
If you do your job right, hopefully both.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that goes.
And so how does that lend itself to the work you do, you think, just the way you are as a person? Because you come across as quite a fun-loving, charismatic, bubbly sort of a person, and the work you do is pretty serious type of work. So do you have like a bit of a switch that you
So I've got split personalities,
well,
is that what you're saying, Helen?
Not exactly that definition, but do you go into a bit of a zone or?
Potentially a little bit. I think one of the things from people that I really respect that I've worked with are people that are true to themselves. And so I think, we're here to do work. I work hard. I'm very attention to detail. But you need to be personable. And we're all doing this. Well, I'm doing this for a reason. And that's what really sort of, drives me. So, I think it's important to, bring the person that you are to your work. And I think, what I do, I think people, when they read what I'm writing, they can tell it's driven through, there's passion. I'm really sort of engaged in what I do, and I feel really strongly about the work that we do at the Registry of Senior Australians and at SAHMRI. Yeah.
And why do you do what you do?
Well, I really think in this current space in what I'm doing is that we really owe it to our older population, and I really believe that older people deserve to have really high quality care. So, we had the Royal Commission just recently, which was a really sad state of affairs. And I think it just, really highlights that what we're doing, ageing isn't really that much of a sexy kind of cool thing to do. It's like, oh, you're working with old people. But, what we're doing is so important. We're all going to age as well. We're all getting older.
It's relevant to everyone.
Yeah, and everyone's got a mum or a grandma or a dad, that they love. And as I say, we're all aging. And, aging is actually a gift, I think. Not everyone gets the opportunity to age. So I think we really want to strive to make sure that we treat our older population with care and dignity, respect. They earn it, and we really need to move towards having an aged care system that's informed by great evidence and great research. So that's where we come in, to really make sure that we have an aged care system that Australia can be proud of.
Who in particular in your life has inspired you to work in ageing research?
I don't really know that it's been one person, Callum. I think it's just been a natural progression over time in terms of when I first went into pharmacoepidemiology. Older people, they take lots of medicines. And so the more medicines that you take, the more at risk you are of harm from your medicines. And so for me, it was just sort of captivated. As you get older, you kind of accumulate these chronic diseases along the way, which is...
Have you seen that from a grandparent or a parent along the way?
No. Well, my grandparents were all in Scotland, so I didn't really get to have that sort of close interaction with them. My parents, my dad died at 60 from motor neurone disease, and my mum was super healthy until a few years ago, and she got cancer and died within 6 months. So I never really got that experience of, what it is that I'm really researching with this, multiple chronic conditions and the polypharmacy, so that's multiple medicines. So it wasn't really inspired by, my personal experiences. It was just inspired by, this is a real issue in terms of health and well-being for our older population, and it's potentially a lot of unnecessary harms that they're experiencing. So it was just, really wanting to make things better for them. And, they really are quite an understudied population in terms of, the capacity in research as well as funding for the space. And I think the Royal Commission has given an awareness to the importance of having high quality evidence and the need for, research in this space, and more importantly about having, a system-wide change to improve care for our older population.
You work for the Registry of Senior Australians. How do you describe the work that ROSA does?
The first of its kind in Australia, where we've linked all of the aged care data to the healthcare data. So anytime someone has an assessment of aged care needs, we've linked that data to hospital records, medication records, health service utilisation records, and to provide this sort of comprehensive whole of picture ageing sort of journey. So we can see what services they get, what outcomes they have from that. And importantly, we want to be able to monitor the quality of care that these people receive, so we can identify if, potentially things aren't going right, how can we improve it, and then how can we, leading to helping improve the health and well-being of our older population.
And like you said, we've had the Royal Commission. ROSA's played a big part in informing the Royal Commission.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's a lot of progress being made, and what's it like to be part of that?
Yeah, so it was a really quite a, amazing time in a researcher's career. And, there's a sort of general notion that from sort of, doing research to translation is 17 years. So we were in quite a unique instance. ROSA got set up in 2017, led by Steve Wesling, the Executive Director of SAHMRI. And then the Director of ROSA, Maria Narcio, came along and she, got things rolling. She's pretty action. So ROSA was like at the right time, at the right place to have this first of its kind in Australia, linking aged care data to health data. So we were just at that, right place at the right time kind of thing. But importantly, it was like an amazing time for us as a research team, because what we did, what the evidence that we provided within 6 months, 12 months, 18 months in the interim report, in the final report, we could see our evidence has gone on to inform the recommendations in the final report of the Royal Commission. So that was, that's really amazing to have that sort of immediate translation of your work. And then moving forward, the government accepted those recommendations. And now there's a massive aged care reform going underway. I think it was $45.7 billion that they committed at the time. And so some of those things that we've worked on, we're now seeing actually getting changed into policy and also practice and how we care for older people. So it was pretty amazing.
So how do you feel about having played a role in that and the fact that it's moved so fast?
I feel really proud. I feel really proud of our team. We have an amazing team at ROSA, and it's just been a great opportunity. And importantly, one of the things that I've learned is, not only has it been the Royal Commission, but we've been subsequently involved in providing evidence for the reform. So the government are now recognising the importance of the role that, high quality evidence can play in informing policy. And so we're sitting there at the table with the government, the people that are making those decisions about these system-wide changes, and helping them to sort of, drive that sort of change and how to best improve quality of care for the aged care population.
It's a bit like you must be the envy of a lot of other researchers being able to have that level of translation at your fingertips to be able to make stuff happen and see it happen, because of course all researchers want to see their work translate, but like you said, sometimes it takes decades to actually see it happen. Must be a bit hooked on that now and wanting things to roll over pretty quickly.
Well, yeah, I think, everyone, that does research really does strive to have that, the ultimate goal kind of thing. So I think, we've really set ourselves up well, and, people, government, aged care providers, collaborators, other researchers recognise the, really great work that we do at ROSA. And so, that just leads to more collaborations, more opportunities to try and drive really important and meaningful research. And by having that really close end user engagement, so we take a lot of time to work with the government, aged care providers as well, and also consumers. They're really important in driving our research. So we really make sure that what we're doing are the questions that are important from a consumer perspective and an aged care user's perspective, because otherwise, we can sit in our beautiful glass cheese grater, but, we really do need to make sure that our research is driven by what really is needed and what's going to make a difference. So hopefully we can continue to do the really sort of high-end research translation and improving policy and practice, yeah.
What are you proudest of in your career so far?
I'm really proud of my PhD students. I look back on, the sort of highlight moments of, when they get their first publication to now seeing some of them, being independent researchers, getting grant funding, leading their own team. And, it does really give me warm fuzzies. And, the same goes for sort of our early career postdocs that we have at ROSA and just seeing them grow and develop and become independent researchers. I think it's really important for capacity building, especially in the ageing space. And, I think that's something that's really important to me. I think going back, the Royal Commission was something I'm really proud of, everything that we had done. It was a really lot of work, and we were trying to, at the same time keep doing all of our other work, that keep going, obtaining grants, writing papers, all those kind of things, as well as sort of doing this additional work for the Royal Commission. But it was a fantastic opportunity to sort of showcase what we can do and really provide that evidence that was really needed. So I'm really proud of that work.
How do those achievements compare to being a mum?
Everyone's like, oh, being a mum's the best thing, which it is.
It's not.
No, it's wonderful. I think I've been really fortunate in my career, in fact, because I largely worked part-time up until I joined SAHMRI. I wanted kids grow up fast, and I just wanted to be able to spend time with them. So I've been really fortunate to be able to do that and still have, my research career. It's always a bit of a juggle. But yeah, I think, seeing my kids have their own journey, none of them have gone into science. So no matter how hard I tried, I think so. They see how hard I work. But I think, it's always wonderful to see them go off on their own journeys in life and make their decisions. And it's a really exciting time. People ask, often say, what's, your favourite age for kids? And, I love all ages. I love the toddlers and the teenagers and now the sort of young adults.
You like the teenagers?
Yeah, they're fun.
You really do love them.
Yeah, they're fun. They say funny things.
And they both sailed for Australia.
Yeah, yep. So they were right into sailing. I think they sort of could sail before they could ride a bike. So they started from a very young age, and we had lots of great experience overseas with the Australian team going to different, very varied locations. We went to Barbados once and been to the Middle East sailing.
Wow.
So,
So that meant that you spent a lot of time driving them to sailing.
Yes, lots of time driving to sailing. And, sailing, it doesn't, it's not like you go play basketball and, you play for an hour and that's it. It's an all-day commitment kind of thing. So, and, the great thing about sailing is that it's always in beautiful places by the beach. So, that was nice. So it wasn't really that arduous, and they both loved surfing as well. So before they got their license, it's getting up in the morning, take them for a surf, and then.
Do they get that from you, or are you just a spectator?
I'm a bit of a sporty spice, but they actually get the sailing from their dad. He's like a world champion sailor, so yeah.
And now that they've moved on from that, what are you doing with all your spare time?
All my spare time, I'm working at ROSA.
That's
I
right.
don't have spare time.
So you should. Good answer.
No, we did joke. I think we had a chat yesterday, Callum, that I said drinking was now my new hobby, which might be as a consequence of having children. But I think, really we're really enjoying travelling again. I think, once when we were in the middle of COVID, we kind of had lost that opportunity to go overseas, and it's something that we've always loved. So that's starting back up again.
Where have you been?
Since COVID?
Since ever.
Oh.
Or where haven't you been?
I haven't been to Africa.
Okay.
And
everywhere else?
I haven't been to South America. Closest I got to was Barbados. So
okay. But you've done a fairly big portion of the globe though.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Amazing. So where's next?
Next is Iceland.
Oh.
Yep. So there's a international pharmacoepidemiology conference in Iceland in April.
Are you presenting there?
No, I'm on the board there, so it's more in that role that I'm going. And then I've got family in Scotland, so of course that's just around the corner pretty much. So we're popping over to Scotland for a few days.
Nice.
Wee Scotland, and having a bit of a reunion. So that'll be fun. And then we're going to Tuscany's the next one on there.
Oh, nice.
I've got a conference in Bologna in Italy, which just happens to coincide with my daughter's 21st birthday.
Okay. That was a happy coincidence.
It was. You've got to, make the most of these things. So
some of these conferences are in some nice locations.
Yeah, they are.
Bit of a perk.
Yeah.
So you should.
Yeah.
So what's kept you at SAHMRI?
Oh, I love working at SAHMRI. Yeah. I love working at SAHMRI and I love working at ROSA. We've got a great team. SAHMRI's an amazing building, like just from the outside. And on the inside, it's lovely to work at. But I really have appreciated the really collaborative, supportive nature of SAHMRI. And it's not just, academically, it's really collaborative and it's really quite inspiring to see other researchers, obviously in different disciplines. But, I feel like there's a whole bunch of really great and smart people doing lots of amazing things. And so just being around that is really quite inspiring and motivating. I love that. I love the fact that, we have amazing support at SAHMRI as well in terms of obviously media and comms.
That's the best.
Yeah, the research office, they generally are there to actually help us to do our research. What can they do to help us so we can sort of spend time doing the research rather than a lot of sort of the administrative or other things like that. So I really do appreciate that. And I think, SAHMRI's largely been really successful because of, Steve Wesling. He's quite an inspiring leader. He's got a very unique, he's just really personable and down to earth and just, everyone just gets on with their job. And he's just been a really great mentor as well. So I think, obviously if you've got a great leader, then that trickles down all the way to everyone involved. So yeah, I love it.
People like Steve inspired you to want to be a leader?
Yeah, I feel like I'm more of a, I'm probably more just going with the flow and this is where I ended up kind of person. But that's maybe what I want to say on the outside, but maybe on the inside, I'm like, yeah, of course I want to be a professor and, have a team and do great things. So,
well, you said one of the things you're proudest of are these PhD students who you've managed throughout their time and seen grow throughout their career. So sounds like you are a leader.
Yeah, no. And as I say, the more you're around inspiring people, the more you learn. And it's not just learning academic things. It's more about learning, positive ways to interact in meetings, positive ways to say things, just being at the table, just all that sort of.
Bringing a good vibe.
Yeah, bringing a good vibe.
Bit of a smile, bit of a laugh.
Good vibes, yeah. As I say, you're coming to work, but we should all be enjoying what we do. And I think if you do, that sort of reflects in the quality of your work. Yeah,
and I think you definitely do that. When you retire, what do you want to be able to look back at your career and say?
I think, that I actually did make a difference. Yeah. And potentially it's not going to be someone reading my paper in 20 or 30 years' time, those kind of things, but it's actually changing policy, changing practice and changing how we now look after our older population. Aged care is, not a horrible place for, your grandma or your mum to go. It's actually a really caring, respectful and lovely place for older people to enjoy their last, few years of life. So that's what I want to really be able to look back on and think, well, I really did try and help to make that.
Well, you could argue that you've already done that, but keep it up.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jill.
Thanks, Callum.
If you want to learn more about SAHMRI and the researchers working to build a brighter, healthier future for you and your family, head to sahmri.org.au.